Namanda, 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 namanda.
Good morning. Good morning, everyone. My name is Jean Sato, and I'd like to welcome you to our Ohigan service and Cato Recognition Day for our Alameda members. It's good to see everyone here. I know it's been a long time since we've all been together. It's kind of hard to tell everyone with their masks on, but we're glad to see you all. So we'll begin this morning's service with Samba Joe on pages 24 and 25.
Namanda, 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 namanda. Today, on this occasion of the fall Ohigan service for 2022, members and friends of the Buddhist Temple of Alameda have reverently come before Amida Buddha. We reverently gather in deepest reverence and thankfulness for the all-embracing wisdom and compassion of Amida. Please join me in the Nembutsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Now we will have sutra chanting, Sangbuddha on page 79.
実法来生、新年少女、糸が国家楽安穏、幸運神妙、世が心象、本願の日、力少々欲実法、世尊知恵無下、上領子孫、知ら信行、軽量心死、食読書、他行生じ、因住不下。
Will you please stand for our first gatha, Namo Amida Butsu, on page 174. And please remain standing for the reading of the three treasures on page 8.
Three treasures. Hard is it to be born into human life. Now we are living it. Difficult is it to hear the teachings of the Blessed One. Now we hear it. If we do not realize the truth in this life, when will it be realized? Let us reverently take refuge in the three treasures of the truth. I take refuge in the Buddha. May we absorb ourselves in the principle of the way to enlightenment and awaken in ourselves the supreme will. I take refuge in the Dharma. May we be submerged in the depths of the doctrine and gain wisdom as deep as the ocean. As disciples of Buddha, and be freed from all hindrances, becoming units of true accord in the life of harmony, in the spirit of universal oneness, freed from the bondage of selfishness. Even through myriad ages of kalpas, hard is it to hear such an excellent, profound, and wonderful doctrine. Now we are able to hear and receive it. Let us thoroughly understand the true meaning of Tathagata's teachings. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu.
Thank you. Now, Reverend Fujimoto will provide the Dharma talk. Thank you.
Namanda, 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 Namanda. Good morning, everyone. Good morning. Ohayou gozaimasu. Wow, looks like a regular service here with so many people here. Very nice. So, in anticipation of this service, we included the consul and the organist and the chair. We changed the camera perspective, and so there's a little pause as I change the view from this view to that view to this view, and so not because I'm losing it or anything. It takes time, it takes a moment, okay? So thank you for your attendance at this Shuki Higan or Fall Ohigan family service. So Ohigan is one of our major Jodo Shinshu services. Just a couple of days ago, I was watching the highlights of sumo, okay? On the Japanese channel. They have the sumo highlights, and even in English they show you, highlights of all the matches. And so the person was on TV, the announcer, and he was welcoming everyone to this day's show. And he said, today is a national holiday. It's the fall equinox. So I didn't know until he said that the fall equinox is a national holiday in Japan. So I guess each spring and fall, they have a national 3-day weekend holiday in Japan. We should have that here. So I think it's nice to recognize, when you go to other channels and other cultures, you kind of hear their perspective, and it's kind of more in tune with the rhythms of the world and the universe, rather than just special people or things that or dates that we recognize, but these ongoing cyclical events that touch each of our lives. So I thought that was very nice to be able to hear. Kind of shocked me and surprised me in a very good way. During the Ohigan, it's like the harmony of nature and the universe is surrounding us. The days and nights are even. Usually the weather is kind of mild, and so it's considered a good time to meditate, to contemplate, and to study our Buddhist teachings. And so this harmony is not only around out there, but it permeates our own existence. So it comes into our own minds, into our own spirit and heart. And so hopefully we can feel this harmony inside as well as to see it outside. So I would like to start with this quote. Please listen as I read this quote from Kenji Miyazawa. If the entire world is not happy, then there can be no individual happiness. Our consciousness of the self must expand gradually from the individual to the group and then to society and the universe. So in this quote, he's talking about the Bodhisattva way of life. Okay? So it's not just my own happiness, but others as well. Just a week ago, we watched the video service because I wasn't here. I had gone to the Northwest District Convention in Eastern Oregon. And we have some friends working to help the convention go well. Connie and Debbie Connie is a male name. Connie was helping with moving things around and setting up for the convention, different aspects, the exhibits and the classrooms and services. Debbie has practiced yoga for some time, but she came down with COVID, so she couldn't come. So Sharman and I were there looking forward to seeing her again and saying hellos and all this. Oh no, Debbie couldn't come. I hope she's okay. So just a little bit, but we have concern for those around us, those we know, and so hope she's okay. It's not a big thing, but we are extending our concern for others, okay? And this happens not only to friends, family, Sangha members, Sangha friends, community, even someone at the post office or the grocery store. They're not doing so well, and you notice, how are you doing, right? And you recognize this, so you're extending from yourself to more than yourself. Here we have Eddie gave his thank yous on a special occasion a couple of weeks ago. Eddie has cancer, and he's not doing real well. We all hope he's doing okay, but it's a difficult thing, okay? So we connect to those beyond ourselves, those nearby, and then beyond the group, beyond society, beyond the universe, to the infinite that we call Alameda, okay? So our consciousness expands to include all that is beyond the self, okay? So Ohigan, we say we're moving from this shore to the other shore, to this shore of normal life to the other shore of enlightened life. Okay, and how do we get there? Okay. So Kenji Miyazawa, who offered us this quote earlier, he wrote Japanese children's stories, and it is said when he was 3 years old, he could recite one of our major chants, the Shoshinge, just by heart, okay? And as a middle school student, he studied the Tanisho because it touched his life. So he repeatedly wrote about the oneness of self and other. And he only lived to age 37, so he had a very short life. But this Bodhisattva way of life, I think it's the way we live naturally, okay? And if we could point it out to ourselves and to each other, if we could see this tendency, we know this tendency. You don't have to study the 6 paramitas and take graduate courses and read this book and that book. You can, but we do this naturally. At different times more, at different times less. And we live this Nembutsu way of life. Namo Amida Butsu reminds us to recognize this infinite surrounding that we have. And so we shift our view from self-centeredness to other-centeredness. Every time we say Namo Amida Butsu, okay, the 6 paramitas guide us to live in that way. Namo Amida Butsu guides us to live in that way. So Buddhism teaches us that the life of awakening is an ideal way to live as a person. Not so self-centeredly, not so ego-centeredly, but to expand and to expand and to expand until we die. Okay? So all through this process, we grow beyond ourselves. Ultimately, we become one with the infinite, one with Amida. So this process is not something, gee, I'd like to do that. No, this is happening right now. It's happened all through your life, and as you become aware of it, it happens clearer to you as you look at yourself. Okay? So again, Ohigan is to move from this shore of samsara, ego-centered living, to the other shore of nirvana, of enlightenment, of the pure land. So they provide the 6 paramitas. How do we get there? The 6 paramitas, quickly: dana, giving, generosity, okay, sharing. Sila is ethics and right behavior. Chicken, and they stand out there in the smoke for 2 full days, cooking, turning chicken, 8 hours a day. Is that endurance and diligence and effort? They're doing the 6 paramitas, right? So they might not be caught dead in here, but they're out there helping us, right? Okay. The 5th paramita is dhyana, meditation, and we explored this during our Dharma school class, to be mindful of mind and body together, okay? And in this meditative sense, we cause fewer difficulties for ourselves. I had the example for the kids that one time, probably college age, I was so hungry and I quickly cooked this bowl of ramen and I wanted to bring it to the table. Coming to the table, I hit the chair and everything spilled. So, oh no. So not only I don't get to eat right away, I have to make a whole nother bowl again. I have to clean up my mess again because I wasn't aligned in body and mind. Okay? So these kind of things, it's not some religious practice that we need to decide to take on. We do these things and we try to avoid these things by being mindful. It's everyday life. Okay? The 6th paramita is prajna, wisdom, and to be able to see in this manner. When we practice all these things, we come close to seeing in an enlightened way. We come to recognize what is this enlightened perspective. Okay? So in general, these 6 paramitas are to polish ourselves, and we grow from a self-centeredness to an other-centered perspective. It's a different way of seeing. So usually we see from this self-centered perspective, I see all the other people here. I'm wearing my mask, they're all wearing their masks, and I see this, and I'm the center of this perspective. Okay? But this is self-centered, and so Buddhism is encouraging us towards an other-centered perspective, reality-centered perspective. Okay? So when we do that, and we see things as they are, not as we want them to be. Okay. So here's some examples, everyday life examples of things like this. I used to have a dog named Quicker, okay? Part boxer, part shepherd, and the smartest dog I ever had. We would work together, and so we would come to the corner, and she knows, sit down, wait till the walk light comes on. So she sits. And and I just gently pull on the leash. She gets up, time to walk, and we walk. And it's safer for both of us, right? So this mind and body awareness, not only me, but two of us. So we would take Quicker to Lake Tahoe and go hiking. My mother was there, and Mom was the elder. So we're going on this trail. And Quicker so happy to be with all of us and running ahead. And then she would come back and look at my mom. Face is smiling, eyes are smiling, panting a little bit, like, are you okay? Are you okay? And she's clearly looking at my mom's eyes. Then she would take off again and run ahead, okay? After a little bit, she comes back. Are you sure you're okay? Yeah, okay, I'm going to go ahead. And she'd take off again. So even a dog has this awareness of self and other, expanding her being to connect to those around us, okay? This is natural. It happens all the time. Another example, Charmin and I have a horse. The horse's name is Shadow. Lives in Castro Valley, okay? And before we brought her down, our friend, horse trainer, used to help us and take us into the round pen and showing me what we need to do and trying to get Shadow to run in a circle around the round pen. And so initially, Shadow didn't really know who I was, right? So I didn't know what to do. I'm not paying attention to you. Let me nibble on this grass in this corner over here, and just ignoring me completely. And so trainers said, you have to be connected. This sounds good, but how? I don't know how. I have no idea how to do that. But gradually, you make this connection, you make this relationship, and you can communicate with her. Eventually, I could just go like this. She's facing me, and she'll back up 4 or 5 steps, touch my chest. She'll come forward 4 or 5 steps, and we're connected, and you feel it. It's palpable. So not only me, but from the horse. Without this communication, there's no connection, right? Each of us are working towards this connection. Another quick story. Quicker again. I used to go away to a meeting. We'd be living in Eastern Oregon and come to the Bay Area for a meeting at the Jodo Shinshu Center in Berkeley, and Charmin would call me. So at home, Quicker's walking around, not eating, her head's hanging down, walking from room to room. Even her tail is dragging on the ground, right? So Charmin calls me, talk to Quicker. She's not eating anything. So I say, hi, Quicker, and I tell him what I'm doing. Don't talk about yourself, talk to Quicker. So Charmin knows, she's in tune with Quicker. I'm just having a busy day, right? So, okay, I get it. So how are you doing, Quicker? You gotta listen to Charmin, and so I'm talking to her. So she starts eating, crunch, 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 crunch. And so she's eating and wagging her tail a little bit, and finishes and plumps down and takes her nap. But it took this communication for her to go on with her day. We share this connection. And Shadow does that too. She doesn't feel like eating. Charmin calls me. So I'm on the phone, and she puts the phone to Shadow's ear. Talk to Daddy. Daddy's here. And so sometimes I feel silly, but there's a communication there, right? And you cannot ignore that. That's a reality. We do these things all the time, right? We had a cat in Oregon named Hartman, just a kind of wild. This to be in the, what do you call that? They kept animals there. People would come to adopt them, right? And so Charmin knew this cat, and there's all these warning signs on the cage. Be cautious. Cat scratches. Don't put your hand on the cage, and all these things. Like you shouldn't even get close to this cat. And Charmin said, "I want to see this cat. She's like cat whisperer. So all the workers are, did you read the signs? Are you sure? And you can't. And she says, open the cage and grabs him. You got to be careful. And she puts her up here. So, don't put her by your face. Don't put her by your face. And so they're all worried about Charmin. It's okay. It's okay. So she calms Hartman down. But usually he's okay. So he had a good friend named Bunny. Okay, there's a stuffed bunny, and that would be his best friend. He dragged Bunny all over the house, all over the house. And so they were pals. So eventually Bunny got real dirty, started to be called Ratty Bunny. Right? So Hartman, we got to wash Ratty Bunny. So we threw this stuffed bunny into the washing machine and turned it on. And Hartman sat in front of the washing machine and he's watching. For the whole cycle of the wash, he's watching his Ratty Bunny. Okay? So even with a stuffed animal, he has this connection. We have the connection to Hartman and he to us. And these connections are there all the time and everywhere. Okay? You see this murmuration, right? Birds flying, fish swimming, these huge groups. You can see it over the bay, right? All these birds flying together. It's making these incredible patterns, right? How do they not run into each other, right? The geese fly this perfect formation. How do they know? How do they know that, right? Monarch butterflies go and come back. We have a new sanctuary in Alameda. They've had one for maybe a couple decades in San Leandro. And they come certain time every year and land on the same area, bushes, and return and return. How do they know that? Even mushrooms. Sometimes you see mushrooms growing, and they're growing in this perfect circle on your lawns. How did that happen? Some kind of communication. Trees, we think they're individual, but we find out underneath the roots are connected to each other, right? All of these things connecting. And all these things are moving naturally beyond our self-centeredness, connecting to other people, to other beings, to other things. And it's natural. It happens all the time, right? And so until we have this pointed out, the 6 paramitas, and to come to the other shore, I'm not going to be able to study that hard and train in Buddhism that hard to come to this point. It's not a matter of training, but if we see in our own lives, every one of us is doing it, sometimes more, sometimes less, but it's happening. And all this is part of this Ohigan, going from this shore to the other shore. Normal life of separation, of duality, I versus other, comes to more, a world where there's a mutually coexistence, right? All things are interdependent and interrelated. Nothing stands in and of itself. All things are one. This is the oneness that Buddhism points out, that we can strive for. And it's not just a matter of studying, it's a matter of seeing what's happening here through a different way of seeing. So let me read this quote again, and we'll conclude this portion of the service. If the entire world is not happy, then there can be no individual happiness. Our consciousness of the self must expand gradually from the individual to the group, and then to society and the universe. Please join me in Gassho. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namo Amida Butsu. Namanda. 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 This is how long it takes to switch the view from the speaker view to the chairperson view. Right, those.
Thank you, Sensei. You gave us a lot to think about today. So, thank you. Thank you. Please be seated. Now we'll have a few words from our president, Hiko Shimamoto.
Thank you, Gene. Well, as Gene said, and Sensei said also, it's so nice to see so many of you here today. Wow, it's really great, and especially nice to be able to, so many of the Cato members are able to join us, and we could express our gratitude to you in person, for all that you've done for the temple and for the Sangha too. I would like to express my gratitude and thank you for all the people that involved in setting up the Enmanji for the Ohigan service, for the flowers and the oval pond, the fruits, and also Sensei for his summer message, and Lenny for playing the organ. It's really nice that we're able to see a couple of kathas today. So I'll turn it back over to Sensei, and he'll introduce Dorothy for the rest of the Cato program. Thank you.
Coming to this service, this service is being able to be viewed, and for some of our members who are at home, and for the Enmanji members in Sevastopol as well. So for this portion of the service, we are going to conclude, so please Oshoko as you have prepared to do at your homes, and for this group that is live here, please sit tight for a moment, and we will be able to Oshoko here a little bit later, but now we're going to go into the Cato portion of our service, and so I'm going to call upon Dorothy, I think, to start here. Okay, so goodbye to those of you who are virtual. Thank you.
So Sensei.
Okay.
Hello. Hello, everybody. So, if